So do people not look into homes when they're trying to move into a new house? Like, I genuinely want to know how many people would just move into a house without looking up anything about the house, because this entire movie could have been avoided by just a quick little Google search and then that would have been it. Like, I'm gonna want to know if 6 people died in my house. That's something I want to know. Forced into early retirement by degenerative illness, former baseball player Ray Waller moves into a new house with his wife and 2 children. He hopes that the backyard swimming pool would be fun for the kids and provide physical therapy for himself. However, a dark secret from the home's past soon unleashes a malevolent force that drags the family into the depths of inescapable terror. So guys, I just got back from watching the first movie of 2024, and let's just say it was definitely a movie that came out. Now, we all know that early movies never really do that good, but I had high hopes because, it was Blumhouse, so I'm expecting him to deliver, and, well, he definitely delivered. A big pile of... No, but seriously, I really do feel like this entire movie could have been avoided. Like, this family definitely wins the award for the most dumbest family I've ever seen. So, this family is looking into buying a new house, and they're trying to just get out of where they're at, and they notice that this one house that they looked into has this swimming pool. It's not on the list, but they just have to go check it out anyways. Everyone's inside looking around the house, checking it out, and the husband goes outside to the swimming pool, and he's just like, checking it out, and he sees this baseball in the water, and he decides to, reach for it. At this point in the movie, the dad gets yanked into the pool, and he starts to drown while everybody else is inside, just looking around the house. Finally, someone comes out, and everyone's screaming, trying to help the dad get out of the water, and they end up pulling him out, and they're like, what happened? Of course, he doesn't say anything. He's just like coughing up water and stuff, and then they end up leaving. And it's like, okay, clearly something like yanked you into the water. I would say something if that happened to me, but I don't know what's up with them. The next day, the husband and the wife are out getting him checked out because, he was an ex-baseball player and he's getting these checkups, and the lady tells him that his, issues aren't really fixing themselves, so he needs to find other ways to help with that. And they recommend him to take, like swimming classes or like take on swimming. So instead of them looking at like a gym or something that has a pool for him to do his water therapy, they decide to look into the house that, the husband almost drowned at. It's like, hey, that house that I almost died at? Let's just move into there. That'll help out with my water therapy. Look, I don't know about y'all, but if I get yanked into a pool and I almost drown, I'm not moving in that house. I'm going to find somewhere else with probably a place without even a pool. But then I guess, we wouldn't have a movie, so that defeats that. So that's how this family ends up moving into this house with this possessed pool. And I know that's, even thinking about this now, that's just a dumb premise, like a possessed pool. That's not that scary. So the family move into their house and they're cleaning up everything, and they start cleaning up the pool. The dad decides to, put his hand into the drain of the pool, and he ends up getting slit on his hand. Everybody's freaking out, he's freaking out, and then they end up hiring somebody to come in and, professionally fix up the pool for him. At this point, they're letting us know that the pool is connected to the shower, is connected to the sink, and it's connected to like the toilet. So all of the water is connected inside of this house. But they don't really pay that off until the very end of the movie, so it didn't really make sense to me, but whatever. Okay, so here's why I say this has to be the dumbest family I've ever seen. And first of all, this entire family, they're really good swimmers. And I mean like the entire family can swim really good. As in, they can stay on the water for a good like 20 minutes, not even kidding. They have this game where they throw these coins into the water and they all race to try and get the coins from the very bottom of it. And they decide to do that a lot to let you know that, hey, this is going to be kind of important later on. So the son decides that he wants to go swimming all by himself, but his mom's like, don't go unless your dad is watching you. So the son goes to ask the dad, and the dad is like, how about you throw this coin into the water and I'll be there. The dad never shows up. So the boy grabs this jar of quarters and he sets it right next to the pool, inside of this jar, and he ends up going swimming with this little action figure that he has. And he ends up losing the toy because these coins start falling into the water. And it's like, okay, I know he's a kid. I know, some kids don't have like common sense like that or anything. But it doesn't take that much to realize that coins can't just fall out of a jar and into the water if it's in an actual jar. Like, they're not just like jumping out of the jar. So it was kind of confusing to me that he would, go swimming, he'd see the coins falling down, he'd just pick them up and he'd come out the water and he's like, hey, like, who's here? Like, whatever, I'm just gonna go back to grabbing these coins from the bottom of the water. It didn't really make sense to me. And he kept doing that. And then he ends up getting a little bit deeper. And then he comes back up for a last time and he sees again, nobody else is in the area. He goes right back down. So now as he's swimming, there's this dead girl who's trying to get his attention. And he's like, hey, like, who's calling me? So the voice is coming from this vent on the side of the pool. And it's like doing this like Pennywise thing where he's like trying to lure you in, and the boy ends up going over there, and you can see that his toy is inside the vent, and the girl tells him his name, and then he's still like talking to the girl, and she's like, hey, I have your toy. So he goes to grab the toy, and what do you think happens? So yes, he gets grabbed and he starts screaming and he's like trying to get out. And when he gets out of the water, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't tell anybody. He just leaves. He's creeped out. That's it. The annoying part about this is he's not the only one who just ignores things like this. Like, his mom was swimming late at night and she ends up seeing her husband on the side of the pool. And then when she goes under the water and she comes back up, he's not there anymore. So she's like, well, what is that? And her husband is like asleep upstairs. So clearly it wasn't him, but she doesn't say anything. It's the same thing with the daughter. She's out swimming with this boy that she likes from school. They're playing Marco Polo. He decides to get out of the pool and, lights and everything are flickering while she's playing Marco Polo. If I'm playing Marco Polo and someone doesn't say polo when I say Marco, I'm opening my eyes. The game is over at that point. But she doesn't do that. Instead, she's like, oh, I can kind of see you at the edge. And she ends up going over there, and then she gets dragged down into the water. She sees this monster at the very bottom, and then she ends up swimming back up and she escapes. But she doesn't say anything about that either. She's just like freaked out. The guy is over there asking her what happened, and that's pretty much that. The dad, I talked about how he ended up cutting his hand at the beginning of the movie. That gets healed up by him swimming in the pool. He never mentions that to anybody. So this family is keeping all of these things to themselves. They're not telling anyone. And it's like, okay, well, maybe it's just that they're afraid that no one's going to believe them. That might be true. But if I'm seeing things like that, I'm telling someone. Like, I'm going to mention it to my family. So they all keep keeping these things to themselves and they're not telling anybody, and more things just keep happening throughout the movie to the point where it gets really annoying. So I get it. A possessed swimming pool isn't really that scary, so they're trying their best to make it scary, but it just wasn't working for me. And I love horror films. Like, that's my favorite genre of movies, but they just did a really bad job with it. So here's a little spoiler warning if you actually decide to watch this movie. Don't. No, but seriously. At the end of the movie, the dad ends up dying because he decides to save his son. And instead of them moving out of their house, they decide that they're going to just cover the pool up with, dirt and just stay in the house. It didn't really make sense to me. And they're like, oh, but dad wouldn't want us to move because then somebody else would get possessed. So let's just, cover up the pool. But they forget that the toilet, the shower, the sink water, all of that is connected to what's going on. So they're stuck. Like, regardless of what they're doing, they're gonna die. It was just a really dumb movie. And like I said, a lot of things started happening throughout the movie that just got annoying. I was actually in the theater all by myself. There wasn't a single soul in that theater. I should have known, but this was an early screening, so I don't know. Well, anyways, guys, if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to see more reviews of me. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.